Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. How are you, dear students? How is your vocabulary? How was the letter R and the pronunciation that we had? I hope that you practiced, and we are going to move on just to refresh what we took in the first part, which is in 2 is better than 1. So we took in the vocabulary building, and we said, as we mentioned before, the letter R. 2 is better than 1. We have the vocabulary. We have compen, defish, we have fear, inval, pred. So as you notice that we have here words that are incomplete. We're going to complete. I'm going to give you just one part here. We have here, which one do you think it goes with? To complete a word, we have here the word. Yes, invaluable. How about this one here? We said we have water is invaluable, for example. Some goes with which part, which word? Complete with me. We have fearsome. Do you remember the word? Like, for example, this animal, we said it is fearsome. We have compensate. Do you remember when we said that some parts can be compensated? We have also the word, or the part, sorry. Which one do you think? We have the second and we have the last. So we have here deficiencies. Yes, deficiencies here. Like here, there are lots of deficiencies in this man. And we have the last one, predators. Now, page number 11, we took the exercise. We said compensate. We have E, deficiencies, fearsome, which is B, causing great fear, invaluable, and predators. Now, just to check the answers, which we did discuss and we did before in our lesson. Now, as we mentioned, I showed you these pictures of these animals before and some new animals. Here, what is the thing that you can say about all of these animals? Are they safe to be nearby? Of course, all of them, they are fearsome and they are also predators. Now, here, this is going to be the basic idea in our lesson. We did mention something about the ostrich and the zebra, if you remember our examples in the vocabulary building. So, we are going to think about animals. And do you think these animals, do they have any kind of relationship or partnership to help one another? Now, this is something that we have in our lesson. So we have here, we are going to relate between these animals and our topic, which is 2 is better than 1. So what are we going to take? We have here in our reading lesson for the day. Before we start with the lesson, we have our objectives. Now, describe animal relationships. Name animals that make up for each other's deficiencies. Define a new kind of animal relationship. Analyze the elements of an animal relationship. Scan for information and words. And relate animal rights to Islam teachings. Now, first of all, we have on page number 12, our reading lesson, we have the title. Now, the title is going to be about animal partners. Very quickly, I would like you to read, to count, actually, how many paragraphs do we have? Now, the number of paragraphs are going to be 6. Here, you can see that I have this graph. We have 4 parts, 4 basic parts. So we have here, we're going to see what are the 4 themes we have in the reading. Now, I would like you just to read here. We have the question. First of all, how do animals struggle to survive? So we have here, you can just start. This is a countdown for you. Just look for the answers. How do animals struggle to survive? You can scan very quickly. Look for the word survive or struggle. So we have our answer. For animals in the wild, each day is a struggle to survive. Now they must continually search for food while at the same time keeping themselves safe from predators. Now we have here the word predator as we took in the vocabulary building. We do have a second question. How do animals team up? What is the kind of relationship called? I want a name of the relationship here. Now we have here teaming up, and you can find the answer here. Now this kind of special relationship in which animals depend upon and benefit from one another is called symbiosis. Now symbiosis here is the relationship that we are going to focus on between our animals. So symbiosis here is the special relationship in which animals depend on and benefit from one another. Now symbiosis here is the teaming up here. I want to understand what do they benefit from each other. So we're going to start with the first team. We have the question. Scan for members of the first team. So you can just take a look here. I'm going to give you a countdown also, just to scan the paragraph quickly before we answer our questions. You can scan and just look for different words to help you within the discussion. So we have here the first team is the fearsome African crocodile and the small plover bird. Now here, just to introduce our team here, we have the crocodile and the plover. The question that we have here, of course, we have the word fearsome from vocabulary building. Scan for adverbs. Now you can see that we have here the word quickly, surprisingly, amazingly, and normally. They are different adverbs that we used with our team here. We know that they are quick, they are amazing, and we have here it's something normal between them. In this question here, how does this team work? What is the basic idea? How does this team work together? You can find the answer here. The plover picks out the small pieces of meat stuck between the crocodile's teeth. So the crocodile is a fearsome animal. It does eat other animals. And we have here the plover. It just picks out the meat from between the teeth. In doing so, it cleans the crocodile's teeth, which prevents it from getting infections. So what is the idea? We have here the idea is that they help each other. The plover is fed and the crocodile is cleaned. Now moving on. In return, the crocodile provides an easy meal. So this is going to be our first team. Now we have here the African crocodile and the plover bird. We're going to complete with the rest. We have here also the second part. We have here scan for members of the second team. We do have a second team here. We have here, you have 1 minute just to look for the second team. So the second team here is going to be the honey guide bird and the rattle. So we have here the two animals, also they team up together, the honey guide bird and the rattle. Now what is the idea here? We have the question, what is the rattle? First of all, what is the rattle? As I showed you in the picture here, it is a furry creature with short legs and long claws, which looks actually scary. We have here the question, what do they live, or where do they live? Where do they live? Both of these animals live on grasslands in Africa. And we have the question, of course there is a common goal. Why do they have a common goal? So what is something that joins between the rattle and the honey guide bird? Now both of them, as we can see, that they have an appetite for honey. So this is going to be our second team. We can say that they are a perfect match. Now, how does this team work? We have here rattles are a perfect match for the honey guide, as they love honey and they are large enough to crack or open a hive. The honey guide flies over grasslands looking for a hive, and when it spots it, it calls the rattle. It makes a noise to alert the rattle, and the rattle uses its claws to tear up and open the hive. After eating its fill, the rattle invites the honey guide to finish the leftovers. So we have here, this is going to be the second part. This is going to be the second team that we have here. The third team, you can see that we have here also two animals. Now, the two animals, we did mention them before. So since we mentioned them before, we have here the two teams are going to be the zebra and the ostrich, as we took in our example. So how do they function together, the two animals here, or how do they team up together? They compensate, as we mentioned, for their own weaknesses, which makes them a perfect match. So why are they a perfect match? We have here the answer. While the giant flightless ostrich has poor sense of both smell and hearing, the zebra has an acute senses of smell and hearing. We can complete also in the second part here, and we can see the completion of it. The zebra has terrible eyesight, while the ostrich has excellent eyesight, which means that they compensate for each other's weaknesses. Now, both of them have deficiencies. So how do they work together? Ostriches can see predators such as lions from far distance, while zebras can smell or hear others as they approach. So each one of these animals has its own deficiencies, and they compensate for each other, as we mentioned. Moving on. We have here, this is going to be the third team. We come to our last team. Now, the last team here, I'm going to give you also just 1 minute to read here and look here for an interesting team that we have in the last part. Be careful to find the animals. No one of the sea creatures actually has an interesting name. You can look for it. We have here, so time's up. We have the sea animals, which are the clownfish and the sea anemone. Now we have here, this is the picture of the clownfish, and we have here the sea anemone. Now, these two creatures, they team up together. We have here the anemone. It looks like a plant, but actually it is a dangerous animal with poisonous tentacles. Now we have here, how does this team work together? We have here, living among the deadly tentacles of an anemone has a clear advantage. Most predators stay away, which means that makes the clownfish safe. So what is the idea? If the anemone is going to protect the clownfish, what does the anemone have as an advantage or something to benefit from the clownfish? So we can read here that we have, how does this team work? You can just search here and you will find your answer. Another benefit from the clownfish is that it is able to eat the anemone's leftover bits of food. And we're going to complete and say that first, the brightly colored clownfish attracts the predators. When the clownfish swims under the anemone's tentacles to safety, if the predator follows, the anemone has the chance to sting and eat it. So the anemone benefits from the clownfish to attract its food. We have here, it provides a safe home of food for the clownfish, and the clownfish attracts prey to do anomany. So this is going to be our last team. Our last team is the clownfish and the anomany, as we mentioned before. Now we do have these 4 teams. They are symbiotic teams. They team up together, and it is something very unusual and interesting to know about nature in general. So we have here, while many symbiotic pairs may at first look like odd partners, the benefits they provide to one another are invaluable, as we took in our lesson. So we have here teaming up. Our lesson was about these 4 teams, as we mentioned. Now these 4 teams, they are the idea or the basic teaming or the different type, which is symbiotic here. Now you are going to read the questions that we have here in the after reading, which is going to be your homework. We are going to follow up in our next lesson and answer our homework questions. At the very end, what did we do? We engaged in the topic of teaming, and we concluded that there is some kind of teaming between animals. We explored the idea of animal teams and how they have this kind of special symbiotic relationship between them. We elaborated the types of teaming up and what do they benefit from each other. And at the very end, we evaluated and we saw each type and how do they help the other side. Now this is our reading lesson for the day. You do have your homework. I hope that you answer the questions, and we will follow up in our next lesson, inshallah.